Harry is desperate. Harry is desperate to get back to England. Harry is desperate to distance himself from the bitter feuds of his wife. And in any case, she's excluded him from her business things.
Is there sort of a slow breakup happening?
Well, I don't think he'll ever want to leave California because he won't want to leave his children. But he's desperate for an identity. And what he really fears is that when the king, God forbid, dies, that his brother, Prince William, is going to banish him.
Today, King Charles has agreed to meet Prince Harry, the Duke's friends have revealed, as royal biographer Tom Bower claims he is desperate to get away from Meghan but isn't ending the marriage because of the children. So lots of major developments as the fallout from the Peace Talks summit continues to resonate. And what's most shocking to me is that the king seems to be accepting Harry's allegation that no, he didn't leak it, that he didn't cause all of the circus this week. It's ludicrous. But this information has come from Charlotte Griffiths, the Mail on Sunday's editor-at-large, who is, of course, now really the new Omid Scobie. She's the propagandist. She's the one trying to rehabilitate the king, Prince Harry, and bring him back into the king's fold. And she has given her own interview to the Mail on Sunday where she reveals this news. So I'm going to take you through it, and then we'll get analysis from our own royal mastermind, Prince Harry and Queen Camilla's biographer, Angela Levin. But Charlotte Griffiths was asked how she broke the story of the week. And she replied the usual way, a bit of gentle digging in the right places and plenty of nurturing old friendships from my days as the Mail on Sunday's social diarist. She was then asked, what do you think Charles and Harry's next moves will be? And she said, I predict that a small tentative rapprochement will come before the end of the year is out. I even feel there could be an in-person meeting between Harry and his father, perhaps as soon as the autumn. Just a hunch. She was then asked, how would you say the royals really feel about this secret meeting becoming public? And she answered, once the big fuss settles down, I think all sides will agree that the meeting was a step in the right direction. I gather that lines of communication have stayed open since I wrote the piece. From what I'm hearing, the door hasn't been slammed shut. Those who sneer forget that behind all the commotion, there is a father with cancer and a son whose mother was killed in a car crash, trying to work out how they can reconnect. And then she's asked, what's Harry's best route back? And will the public ever take him to their hearts again? And she said, Harry revealed in his recent BBC interview that he loves his country and always has done. I think deep, very deep down, the Prince Harry of old is still in there somewhere. He just needs to find himself again. Perhaps that will mean making a few trips to the UK without Meghan. It seems clear there is no way back for her, and I don't even think she's that bothered. Certainly any rapprochement will require several meaningful apologies from Harry. Perhaps he ought to show some contrition to the UK public as well as his family. If he successfully makes amends, I do believe the public could eventually take him back. After all, the nation forgave Camilla for being the other woman, and now we call her queen. It only took 20 years. So Angela Levin, a huge amount of new information coming from this interview with Charlotte Griffiths. And look, I fundamentally disagree about how she thinks that the British public are going to be so stupid because, let's be honest, Camilla, for all of her sins, which involved falling in love with a man, and you know I was very much Team Diana at the time, she never did anything to try and destroy the royal family, did she? She never did anything to damage the Queen or to damage Prince Philip. And my God, that woman stayed quiet. You know, through everything, Angela, through everything, she stayed quiet. So can we stop Charlotte Griffiths, number one? Sorry, I'm so angry about this, Angela, but can we stop comparing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's behaviour to Queen Camilla's behaviour? Because look, I don't agree with what Camilla did to Diana, but their conduct and their behaviour was completely different. That's the first thing. The second thing is, Angela, what do you make of the fact that the king doesn't think Harry's done anything wrong this week and wants to have this in-person meeting with Harry before the year is out?
Where shall I start?
Before you watch the full video, please take a second to subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot.
That Harry and the king, I just think that whole little meeting was a test. I don't believe that it means anything whatsoever. Because if it was very important, the secretaries of the individuals would have been there, not someone who was just a sort of PR person, just to help out what was going on. So, and I thought that the fact that they were only there for 10 minutes, that there was a camera taking pictures of them when they arrived in a taxi and when they were up there on the balcony, that is all just a test. And they've failed the test. Harry has completely failed the test because he couldn't keep his mouth shut or let Meghan keep her mouth shut. So I think that's nonsense. And I think what they're doing, the people who actually want Harry to do well, I don't know if people are getting paid for this or whether they're clever, they've got marvelous minds. But the thing is, how can you let Harry go forward when he hasn't said an apology, hasn't got an apology for his father, who actually only in the beginning of May was disgusting about him? Why should you suddenly think it's wonderful and you think that if it happens, it's going to be great? It won't be great because he's not going to change. He hasn't changed at all. He hasn't actually tried to talk to his father. Well, he's 40. He's not a baby. How, does everybody have to keep looking after him, get someone else to do it? No, if he wanted to say, be with his father, I said that he should go and stay with him for 1 or 2 weeks, very quietly, not talk about anything, not talk about Meghan, and just try and soften up. But it doesn't want that because he's actually got to go in determined and, strong and phony. And I think that that's actually just dreadful. And I don't think the king would do it. He's not stupid. And although he's not well, he's absolutely not going to upset William.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right,
I'm sure
Angela.
I am.
Because
I am.
I
I
mean,
get good feelings about these things, and I trust myself. And I just don't think how you can have someone who's so bitter, who's so angry, who doesn't feel he's been justified in his life, and his wife hasn't, and she feels that it's absolutely terrible, and she can't let go of trying to be ghastly about Catherine. They're not going to suddenly be lovely souls. They can't do it. They just can't do it. And if they look at him like that, it's phony. I think they're just really, really phony, very unhappy and really phony.
yeah, well, it was interesting because Tom Bower, who is obviously writing this new edition of his book on Meghan Markle, Revenge, wasn't it? The first
Yeah.
edition of the book was
Yes.
called Revenge. He appeared alongside Nigel Farage and suggested something quite similar. Angela, watch this.
Tom, so many royal stories around.
Yeah.
Quick picture of Harry recreating his mother's time with, the Halo Trust, going into the minefield. What's Meghan not with him? What's that all about?
It's a stunt. Harry is desperate. Harry is desperate to get back to England. Harry is desperate to distance himself from the bitter feuds of his wife. And in any case, she's excluded him from her business things.
Is there sort of a slow breakup happening here?
Well, I don't think he'll ever want to leave California because he won't want to leave his children. But he's desperate for an identity. And what he really fears is that when the king, God forbid, dies, that his brother, Prince William, is going to banish him from Britain. And therefore he can't get back at all. And so somehow he's trying to ingratiate himself. But he's advised by people, Californian advisors, who don't understand Britain. So they let the Mail do the photographs.
Yeah.
They think it's clever for him to recreate something that Diana did more than 25 years ago. It's all falling flat. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Very interesting, Angela, because it's true, isn't it? William does want to banish him, which is why Harry is now sort of dangling this carrot to the royal family via Charlotte Griffiths. Oh, well, I don't need to do any of this with Meghan. I don't need Meghan as part of this. And it's like, oh my God, what a total U-turn.
Yeah, well, it's just something that will help him do a new step. But actually, when he's done that step, he's going to go back and bring her along with him, because otherwise she will scream and shout and threaten everything, and it would be very difficult to have the children. And, I just think that she's not somebody who's going to understand that he doesn't want to be with her anymore. There's not going to be a nice way of separating. She will just shout, she will just push him out the way. She has him when she doesn't, he's her sort of aid when she needs him, but she's there if she wants to show that she still phony loves him and kisses him in front of everybody. All this is just nonsense. But if it really comes to that, and she loses that, and she loses a sort of idea of the title because she can't keep hanging on to that, using that, it just won't mean very much. And I don't think that they can do it. But he won't admit that he made a big mistake. He made a huge mistake. William was right when he said to him, don't go too quickly, because she doesn't know how we work here. She doesn't know how the royal family operate. She won't know our way of living. Catherine had 10 years trying to learn this. Please just, be careful. And he stopped talking to him then. How dare you? How dare you?
Well, Angela, you actually say that Harry's sort of obsessive and unending jealousy of William and the animosity towards William, you say that it's becoming pathological.
Yes, he's got to get his own back on what he's missed out. This is Spare all over again in a different form, that he absolutely wants to hurt him in any way he can. That's why he's quite happy that Camilla is saying really ghastly things about his wife and absolutely attacking her in every possible way. Fortunately, she's a very sensible, wonderful woman, and she won't let herself be taken by that. But she is vulnerable because she's also had cancer, and we're not sure yet how well she actually is. But Harry is furious that William is now, very much the second to the throne, and that the first to the throne, really, if you look at it that way, and that he is doing everything very well and doing the sort of things that Harry would like, actually, with the air and the sea and everything else. But he's not winning. I think William, though, is bound to be unhappy about what she's done to their mother. It gives you the cringing because you don't want to liven somebody up who's been dead for so long. It's like digging them up, isn't it, out of the ground?
It really is, Angela. And of course, sane people see this. I mean, what has been so disturbing, actually, this week, Angela, is seeing the mainstream media all try and convince us that this is a good thing. And we all know it's not a good thing. But we've seen everyone, all of these people who are meant to respect, well, I don't respect any of them, any of these people who believe that this is a good thing. But someone, Angela, who I do think understands what's going on is Douglas Murray. Obviously, very, very strong conservative author, commentator. And I wanted to share with you a couple of moments, Angela. So let's kick off with his take on everything that's gone wrong with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. This was during an appearance on Sky News Australia with Rita Panahi. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now, one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are actually nothing but glorified moisturizers. They hardly make a dent on your appearance. Some can even be harmful to your skin, he said. Now, recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? So that he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face, and you may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. So in light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public. It is free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. And he says if this helps even one person look younger or feel more confident. He will be thrilled knowing he helped. The video's gone viral. It started on Facebook. There's been well over 2 million views now. And I mean, women all around the world, thousands of women actually, are reporting they look decades younger. One commented, best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you. So you can find out more about this yourself right now at bhmd1.com/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. That's probably easy, but let me repeat the address, bhmd1.com/outspoken. Dr. Lake does ask one thing from his viewers. If watching the video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share it with your friends and loved ones, because together we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video right now at bhmd1.com/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
There's certainly a great deal of love and goodwill for her from the British public. She's in so many ways the polar opposite of the most attention-seeking royals at the moment, Harry and Meghan.
Well, she is. And I mean, it's sort of inevitable always that people will hold these up as, rivals or competitors or something like this. But really, I mean, the story with Princess Catherine is simply that, she has just not put a foot wrong since she first entered public life many years ago now. And that just stands in stark contrast, not just to Meghan, but to Harry, who was brought up to know what the rules were of public service and of, never complain, never explain. He was brought up in all of that. He, like his wife, has just completely flouted all of that. And Princess Catherine, who was not brought up in that, has adopted it and has been rewarded in the way that people are when they do that. When members of the royal family show duty to the country and a duty to the public returns the warmth in kind. It's why Princess Anne, who's a less glamorous figure perhaps than the now Princess of Wales, has huge public admiration because she's seen to be giving her time, her life to the country and to all of the causes and charities and good causes within it. In the end, that's how people get public admiration within the royal family. It is by showing a sense of duty. It is not by setting up in California at a multi-squillion-dollar mansion and making jam that you then flog. Who knew?
I mean, he's totally right.
Well, yes, it is.
He's totally right, isn't he, Angela? He is completely right. He's summed up why this is not going to work for them.
Yes, and this whole thing of working and donating yourself to the king and to the people of the country, and that's it. You're not there to try and make yourself the best known woman in the world. She has been in a way, but not best woman, but she is extremely well known now. And that's what she wants. And sometimes I think she doesn't care what happens as long as people have seen her. The same with that teching thing when she was pregnant or pretending to be pregnant. That was so disgusting, but she was delighted because 35 million people watched it. But, that's not for a decent person. That's absolutely awful. And that's it. Oh, makes me feel ill. And it does, actually. It does.
Sorry, Angela. Sorry,
right.
Angela. No, it is. It's awful, isn't it? Okay, Douglas Murray, you might not agree with him so much on the king, though, Angela, because he is concerned about King Charles. I want to show you what he had to say, and I'll get your reaction off the back.
Okay.
The Queen always understood her role. She remained, Douglas, apolitical, but King Charles seems to struggle with that a little bit. He's now officially in charge of saving the planet. His role has been redefined to include leading on environmental sustainability. Do we really need or want a climate king, Douglas?
No, I mean, this really has to be, I hope that the king's advisors keep this stuff away from him. As Prince of Wales, there was an argument for him to have personal causes of his own, personal campaigns of his own. On a number of those, the then Prince of Wales was seen to be actually ahead of his time, quite often faced ridicule on things like organic farming and so on, but was often actually ahead of his time and deserves some credit for that. And that's something you can do as Prince of Wales. But once he's king, I'm afraid that all of that stuff is a luxury that he just can't afford. None of the things that could be the day-to-day stuff of politics and politicking can be in his realm. His realm is to be king and to be above politics and to be above all of this sort of thing. And that just has a very, very special role in a constitutional monarchy, because otherwise, basically you're stuck in the sort of day-to-day Ed Milibandness of everything, for instance. You're sort of stuck in being climate secretary and talking about emissions and so on. That's not what the monarchy is there for. The light that the monarchy can shed on a constitutional system is the light of something that is above politics and above the fray and that unites people. And as you say, Rita, the late Queen was an absolute master of that. Nobody ever knew where she stood on anything other than her service to the country and her love for the country and the Commonwealth. Other than that, it was an absolutely closed box. And I think that was the ideal. That is the ideal. And it's one that Prince Charles, now King Charles, was brought up with. And I hope his advisors advise him to try to stick to that and his mother's example.
Angela, do you want to defend Charles at all there?
I agree with him. I agree with him. I don't like it. Whenever the king starts saying something about the environment and things like that, I sort of cringe because I don't think he should. I think he should talk his heart out with his son about it, because they both are very, very keen on it, and talk to Camilla about it until she's actually said, I've got to go and read a book. But I don't think it should be seen by us. I don't like it. I don't think he should do it at all. And I know we don't know which politician he really likes. I'm pleased that he hasn't actually shown anything there. I do know, but I'm not pleased he doesn't actually let that out. But I don't think he should do those huge things that actually are not there for the king.
Yeah, that's true.
Surprise you.
No. I think it's true. I think I totally agree. I think Charles is wrong when he does that. Angela, the other big thing this week that you've been concerned about are these growing headlines in the MSM, sort of almost saying that William is putting the royal family at risk if he doesn't welcome Harry back. And Royal B posted on this saying, this headline is disturbing on so many levels. H put himself in the cold. He made a choice to leave. It's not William's responsibility to take care of his drug-addled bro, and Harry and Meghan have been exacting revenge since they left. That will not change whether they are in the fold or out. And Angela, you posted in response to that, Harry chose to be out in the cold and do his best to bring down the royal family and, if possible, put Meghan in their place. He is now 40 and can't expect anyone to wipe out all the vile things he said and get William to treat him like a baby brother. Leave our terrific heir to the throne alone. Prince Harry must bring Harry in from the cold to stop Sussex's seeking revenge. And this is the narrative that we're getting constantly from the mainstream media. And I just think, no, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. He shouldn't be threatened by them.
Oh, I mean, absolutely not. You can't blame him for something that Harry's done for several years, that Harry's behaved so badly that it would be William's fault if he didn't actually give in to him. Absolutely not. Are they raving mad? I think I can't believe that anybody would accept that. So William has to take all the blame for what Harry has done. So how do you think Harry's going to behave? He's going to behave very superiorly. He's going to be very nasty to William. He's going to try and put him down because he's won. I feel 150,000 times that he must not win. It's nobody's fault except his own. He wanted to go, he's done it, and he cannot blame William or his father. Absolutely not. We're all actually dependent on ourselves. And sometimes you get someone who makes life a bit difficult, but on the whole, you have to understand who you are, and get on with it. But to say that your elder brother, who's been absolutely wonderful, has to take the pain and the negativeness and the wrong of what he's done is just ludicrous. I think if you can tear it up. It's nonsense. And I hope people have enough strength to say, what nonsense is this? Go away.
Totally. I do too. But Angela, I just want to show you so that we can sort of provide some balance what the mainstream media are putting out there this week. So obviously we've been getting a lot from Charlotte Griffiths, who I've described earlier in the show, of course, as like the new Omid Scobie. But also The Sun hosted Sarah Hewson, who's a royal reporter now, used to be at Sly News. So certainly on the sort of liberal left-wing side of things. But honestly, what she was saying, Angela, just sort of made my skin crawl, actually. Watch this.
Do you see it, though, Matt, that there's no coming back to do any royal duties? Or could we end up in a scenario which is closer, actually, to what Harry and Meghan wanted in the first place, where they are living in Montecito, but they can come back for the big events. They can come back for some of the charitable endeavours. But what kind of father would slam the door in your son's face? That wouldn't look good for Buckingham Palace. So I think they have to have this dialogue, and it's about time. King Charles has always made it clear that the door's open to Harry, his darling boy. And, you know, that father and son bond is unbreakable. No matter what happens, no matter what stones are thrown, he has always wanted some kind of reconciliation. It's brought huge sadness. And he's got 2 grandchildren living in California that he barely knows.
I mean, Angela, honestly, it's like, sorry, Sarah Hewson, can we just remind you for a single second that less than 3 months ago, Prince Harry was suggesting that the king and the royal family were involved in some type of conspiracy to kill him. So this constant, like, propaganda to try and rehabilitate Harry, it is driving me insane. It is driving me around the bend.
How I see it is that the people who come up with those sort of things that are rubbish, you know, absolute rubbish, are saying these nice, kind things so that they will keep getting work. And that work will provide money. And so they want to be nice and they think they need to be positive. And it's not easy for the people who want to be negative, because people don't like to hear that. They want goody-goody things. And you have to be strong. Now, if you put Meghan and Harry on a job, do you think they're going to listen? Do you think they're going to do it?
Of course not.
Do what you want to do? Absolutely
not. No, they're
not.
going to use it for themselves, Angela. And there's one thing they care about. You know. Can I just say one other thing, Angela? And this is something that really King Charles needs to think about too. If Prince Harry's deal with Netflix had not been a disastrous flop and they didn't need money, he wouldn't be back for these peace talks. He is back for these peace talks because he needs something out of the royal family. And I'm so sick of everyone who's trying to say, oh, Charles had no other choice. It's like, no, Harry made his choice when he wrote that book and he did all of that. Oh, it's driving me, as I say, it's driving me mad. I think it's really intellectually dishonest, Angela.
But also the things from the court. Well, he was keep going back and back and back.
Suing his father's government.
Yes, so he's got £1.5 million that he owes. And you can't say, well, oh, poor guy, you know, he was doing his best. No, he shouldn't have done it. It was obvious he wasn't getting anywhere.
Everyone's warned him. You know, everyone's warned him on all of these court cases. They're going nowhere. You're going to end up bankrupting yourself. Like, just focus on being happy. Like, you could have, they literally, Angela, could have just pocketed all of the money, right, from the first Netflix deal and the first Spotify deal, knuckled down, done some hard work, and they would have been set for life, Angela. Instead, they have spent money as if they are bloody Bill Gates or Elon Musk. It's embarrassing. And look, I know Charles is worried about them coming back cash in hand for money, and I know you think that's what's going to end up happening too, and I think we are close to it, actually.
No, I don't. I think he may not give it to him.
Well, no,
he's
but
got
I don't mean
so-
he'll give it, but I mean they're going to be coming for it.
They've been
Do you see what I
becoming.
mean?
They'll go home without it, actually. I
Good.
think he'll be quite strong with that.
Good.
And I think Camilla will actually, she doesn't boss him about anything. She doesn't really get involved in him and his children. But I think she will actually advise him about the wrongness of actually giving him a load of money. Because if he gets it, well, he'll come back again and again and again and again. And as for the children, as for the little children, they were the two that didn't want anybody to see them. They didn't want to have anything to do with them. Now we're actually allowed to see their backs, but that's all. And I'm sure that the king is slightly upset about that, but you can't be too upset about anybody you don't know. I mean, William and Catherine's little children, he knows them very well. They spend time with him. He has a great love with him, especially Louis. And Louis took to him when he was tiny, loved to sort of cuddle him, put his head in his neck. And so you do love the children, but if you don't see these children, you cannot have the same longing because you don't know what they're like. So it doesn't bother me about that. I don't think it will ever happen that they'd have to have a very, very long time before they like them. They'd be polite, but, I don't think that Harry will want them here in the school. I think it's all part of a campaign that they've got that they want to win. We've seen this for so long. It's all these things that they're trying out to get the royal family down. They want to destroy it, especially Meghan, because she's furious that she didn't take, with the Queen, that the Queen sort of took a step and let her run it all. That's what she wanted in the beginning, and she didn't get it, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
It's
No, I mean, it's been quite a week, Angela. It's been quite a week. And I guess what this week shows is that this is the warning to the royal family. If you open the door, this is the chaos that they bring. But Angela Levin, thank you so much for covering it all with me. And of course, if you do want the royal exclusives that you simply will not get from the mainstream media or the royal rota because they are corrupted.
Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more royal bombshells,
this week,
and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from the palace drama you won't see on mainstream news.